Hello everyone, Lowko here, and welcome to another high-level match of StarCraft 2. Now what I've got for you today is a best of 5 series between two of my personal favorites. Very excited to find out exactly what ended up going down between these two legends. So spawning right here in the top left-hand corner in game number 1, playing with the red Terran pieces, we have none other than GuMiho, and his opponent in the opposite corner with the purple Zerg drones, he goes by the name of Bly. Now, I know I've uploaded like 3 Terran versus Zergs in a row as it is. The thing is, if StarCraft 2 was a traveling circus, right? Which I guess sometimes going from event to event, it kind of feels like it is. If StarCraft 2 though was a traveling circus, I think these two, they would definitely be the clowns, right? They'd be doing their like balloon sculptures, they'd be doing some acrobatics, maybe riding around on a unicycle or something like that, right? Although, I guess to be fair, GuMiho has upgraded over the last year to a unicycle with 2... Oh, I guess we could call that a bicycle. Yeah, as a Dutchman, I should really be aware of the names of wheeled contraptions. Anyways, this should be an absolute banger. I've got a feeling that Bly is going to be able to bring out the worst in GuMiho, okay? So GuMiho for a long time now has been playing quote-unquote standard StarCraft 2, but at least historically, this man has been a big fan of proxying half his base and going for quick battlecruiser cheeses and all kinds of shenanigans. Then again, though, he's going up against Bly. So this particular series is from the IEM Katowice qualifiers. That means that this series has been played a little while ago, but I mean, when I saw the 2 names of this particular match, I couldn't help but go and check out what exactly ended up going down between these two. I have no idea if this is going to be good, but I guess if this video made it up to the YouTube channel, it did turn out to be a bit of a banger. I only try to upload the very best games that I get to cast, so if you aren't subscribed already, make sure you do so you get notified as soon as future videos go live. I've got a feeling though that a series between these two, especially a best of 5, it has to be something spicy, right? Now, real quick, in case you're unfamiliar, Bly, he has been playing this game for a very long time, but recently he's been quote-unquote retired. He only really comes out of retirement whenever there are big qualifiers going on in the game. So whenever there's a large event on the horizon and he can play in an open qualifier, suddenly Bly signs up. He doesn't really play in any of the smaller online cups. If I have to believe his Twitter, he doesn't actually play the game at all. Although whenever he does show up, I mean, maybe he hits a few more supply blocks than he should. Maybe it's like riding a unicycle, you know, like maybe it is like riding a bicycle and he just remembers exactly what to do. I always take that with a grain of salt though, because I remember historically we would always hear guys like, for example, Stefano, right? They would always say, yeah, I don't actually play the game. I barely practice for this tournament, right? I've not really put in the work, so I don't really know exactly how well I'm going to be able to perform. And then ultimately they end up winning the entire tournament, right? Because, well, Stefano was very good at the game, and he certainly did practice. Some players, I guess they like to play it cool, you know? They like to play it cool and they decide, no, I'm not going to tell the competition that I've been trying hard, because that just puts more pressure on me than there absolutely needs to be. Now, right from the get-go, we've got ourselves a very quick Roach Warren. Stop blabbering about unrelated stuff, Lowko. We've got ourselves what seems to be a Roach Ling all-in. In the meantime, on the other side of the map, we have 2 Hellions after a bunch of Reapers. So that's the second Reaper into now Cyclone production. So GuMiho is taking the base defense very serious. That is a lair. And that lair is weird, because that lair is right after a whole lot of roaches were made. If that Reaper does not see the Roach Warren or the roaches, this can actually backfire really hard. Reaper ends up going down, Hellions in the meantime at the front. Okay, they will see the roaches. That lair timing can easily catch you off guard. Not exactly sure what the lair is, well, really even here for. Bly's gonna drone behind this. We've got ourselves a multi-layered attack right here from the Ukrainian Zerg. So he's going 7 roaches, 1 Ravager, skipping link speed, no third base, into a very quick lair. That lair is what is really strange. So he did go link speed for a little bit, then he canceled it. I thought he was gonna go for a roach link flood, but that's not the case. I guess we're sort of just treating this now as a macro build? 3rd hatchery, or Terran hatchery rather, inside of the main base. The command center, it did get scouted there too, so Bly now sees that this is a relatively late 3rd base. Roach speed on the back it is, by the way. Bly mining a whole load of gas. Not the 4th gas guys are in the main base, but at the very least, well, I guess the 2nd gas guys are in the main base. Anyways, Ravager's over here in a little bit of trouble, as there's a hit squad of a Medevac together with 2 Cyclones. This always reminds me of 2 Immortals inside of a War Prison. Don't really know exactly why, but these add-ons are very, very exposed. There's a ton of micro potential, right? So if you want to defend this, Mr. Gumi, I think you are going to have to bring those units back home. One of the Cyclones running dangerously low. Good target firing right there by the South Korean Terran. Although so far, nice shoveling as well here by Bly. Ultimately, though, this is not going to achieve anything. Yeah, this entire move out, at best, I think you're going to trade units. At worst, you lose everything and you get nothing in return. Because really, the only units so far that were killed here by Bly were little bits of miss micro right there by GuMiho. Not the most successful start, but already a very strange way to begin a series like this. There is a third hatchery now coming up. 2-base saturation has been achieved, and Bly is going to finish up roach speed. So there are no evolution chambers, no Hydra dens, no spires, no Nidus worms, none of that. This is just a bunch of roaches with roach speed, and now we're gonna go into the infestation pit. I don't want to overanalyze what Bly is doing, because sometimes I get stuck in my own thought process a little bit. This may very well be just a strategy where Bly is trying to not make any sense, right? Like, how can my opponent know what I'm doing when I don't even know what I'm doing? Because these pushes, they really shouldn't achieve too much, but they are hitting at very strange timings. And is there actually enough available right now for the Terran to defend? So GuMiho does not quite have this production powered up. He does not have Stimpak. His 1-1 research is coming right now. He's prepared to play a bit of a longer game. There's one Liberator, but no siege tanks. Well, that upgrade is certainly going to go down. Every single timing attack from Terran, it pivots all on that Stimpak. The roaches, ooh, they're thinking about just running straight into the natural, and they will. Good lock-ons right there, of course, with those Cyclones. This is such a Bly game, man. Do you think he plans these sort of things? Because there are so many variables that could have just made this a complete disaster. And ultimately, look at him. GuMiho suddenly looks like he hasn't ever played the game. GuMiho suddenly loses 26 SCVs, and you can see that his production really is starting to slack a little bit. Yeah. So I think this is what Bly does, right? Like, he throws so many curveballs in a row that his opponents just kind of forget that they are top-of-the-line Grandmasters and not somewhere, you know, lower up on the ladder. Like, look at the production here. GuMiho all the way up to nearly 1,000 resources in the bank. For a little bit there, he was over 1,000 resources in the bank. Whereas, yeah, sure, Bly's economy is nothing to write home about. We're 7.5 minutes in and the first drone comes over at the third. But at least he's doing a lot better of a job when it comes to microing his stuff. Now he's got tunneling claws as well for the roaches. Infestors are coming up. Man, I love Bly's playstyle. It's so much fun. I never think it's particularly great. Like, in my mind, if you try to do something like this against, like, the Marus or the Clems of the world, right? You would just get absolutely demolished. Oh, he sees it. He sees it. GuMiho sees the little bit of the shadow there, picks up a few of the low HP units and tries to get him out of there, but still no Stimpak available. These are 1-1 Marines, no Stimpak, no combat shields. Roach is coming in from the left here as well, tunneling past a missile turret. Of course, the missile turret is a detector. It's a playstyle that we just don't see, man. Bly's playstyle in general, it is just unexplored territory in 2024. And there's no way you're gonna win tournaments playing these builds when the top tier guys sign up. Like, you're not gonna beat Serral, right? Playing these sort of... I don't believe it. I don't think it's gonna happen. Serral plays this game like a machine. But if you are a human, like, for example, GuMiho, you may just find yourself in a very weird spot that you've never seen before. And I've said this many times, but the worst thing you can do to a StarCraft 2 player is make them think while they're playing the game. StarCraft 2 players hate thinking while they're playing the game. Look at this right now. Triple evolution chamber. I get excited over silly things, man, but this... We have such a small economy and we're going triple evo? Okay. That way, I guess you never have to make the choice. Fungal growth suddenly coming out of nowhere. Queen is gonna be able to finish. Oh, one of the medevac's off. Yeah, all right. Stimpak coming up once again. 9.5 minutes in. Stimpak, I think this is attempt number 3, is indeed starting. Fantastic upgrade to have. It makes your Marines pew-pew faster. And I would say that pew-pewing is very, very nice. I'm not exactly sure how you can fire a gun faster after using Stimpaks. That is something that has always been lost on me. Maybe they're like not automatic rifles, you know? Maybe they're single shot and the trigger is just pulled much quicker. I don't really know exactly how it works, but it is a little bit funky. Either way, the movement speed makes sense, okay? Suddenly, yeah, they get those combat drugs. Suddenly they can run really fast. But the firing, not exactly sure. Anyways, GuMiho in this series so far clearly had the plan to play as safe as possible, right? Hellions into Cyclones, double wall off at the front. I mean, all of that is basically him saying, look, I'm going into the series. I know I'm the much better player, right? I'm much more accomplished over the last year or two. I know what I'm doing. All I need to do is just not take damage. And it is clear that despite that mindset, Bly has done a tremendous amount of damage. Now, is this a game-winning position, though, for the Zerg? No, not really. We do have a hive coming up. 11 drones are coming, so at least we're gonna make these, drones work over in that central base. Oh, big fungal! Banelings suddenly show up as well. This high ground area, this was the spot where apparently GuMiho felt relatively safe. He even put a missile turret there to try and spot any incoming roaches. I think ultimately this will go in favor of Gumi. At least it's starting to lean in that direction. Yeah, because he is going just for the more well-rounded unit comp, right? And he does have 2-2 bio at this point. But it is certainly such a strange way to play Zerg. Makes me wish that Bly would play more tournaments, you know? So much fun. And this wasn't anything like early game super cheesy, right? Like this wasn't even him going for like his craziest build orders. This is pretty tame as far as Bly's strategies go. So I'm excited to see what he does in the rest of the series as well in the early game. GuMiho is starting to tighten the noose. He needs to be very cautious still, because that is a lot of infestors. Quite a few infestors will have fungal growth, so yeah, you gotta be pre-split right over here. Roach is going around, trying to maybe get the jump right here on the tanks. Is GuMiho gonna respect this? No. He is actually... Okay, he is actually gonna be riding his siege tanks a little bit deeper onto the creep. Ultra Cavern coming up 12 minutes into the game. This base is not going to happen. I mean, this is not game over yet, guys. Don't get me wrong. It's just that usually, you know, when I've seen these Bly games over the last couple years, this is kind of where things seem to fall flat on their face. But obviously, that's not to say that he can't win from this particular position, since that attack from Gumi is so incredibly slow because he is pre-split and he's trying to clear out the creep. Yeah, these roaches, look at him, doing a lot of damage on the other side of the map, and that's more SCVs going down as well if he's not careful. Roaches and Ultras, by the way, are one of the worst combinations. You generally can't really get a lot of value out of them. Ooh, I do love this positioning right now on the tanks, though. Then again, fungal, slowing down a lot of the advancement. GuMiho overstaying is welcome. He decided to bring some sleeping bags and bark his units, well, basically onto the creep. And ultimately, that allowed Bly here to get a ton of reinforcements. But at least GuMiho is going to kill loads of drones here for his troubles. Yeah. 22 workers have gone down on the side of the Zerg. Supply-wise, this is still fine here for Bly, but we're still playing Roach Ravager 13.5 minutes into the game. That is usually something you want to transition out of long before this point. Well, we are making a transition. The reason why Ultras and Roaches go so poorly together is because, well, Ultra AI in general, the way that they walk, is really derpy, right? Since they're so large, they tend to get stuck on things. And since Roaches are ranged units, and pretty large as well, you gotta make sure that the Ultras are in front of the Roaches before the fight really begins. If you just attack move and the Ultras are behind them, they will certainly not make their way to the front, or at least not in the most, ideal way. You gotta be very careful with them. Roaches over here. Okay, getting a decent trade. These are fully upgraded Marines right now, though, and you can see that against Roaches, they actually don't mess around. +1, +2 on the Roaches. It's not quite as great. Liberators are coming up, so GuMiho is slowly trying to create a semblance of a normal game here. He's probably considering making ghosts, but we're not quite at ghost tech yet. He has seen the Ultras, though, and that is super nice. Ultra Infestor Roach. I'm inclined to say that that is not a unit composition that's particularly great, but I guess it's really powerful defensively. It's not like Bly is just gonna, well, at least if he's in the right position, it's not like he's just gonna be taking a bunch of damage. At least he shouldn't. Well, yeah, no. Still a problem though. Big fungal growth. So he gets the kill on the hedge, but that came at the cost of a ton of Marines. Was that a good trade right there for Terran? I'm not 100% sure. I guess he has a lot of money here to continuously reinforce it. Yeah, and the supply count right now is no longer deceiving us. Alright. I think for GuMiho, it is all about surviving the first 10 minutes of the game and be in a relatively okay position, at which point everything becomes a lot more comfortable. I think that'll probably be his approach in this series. Be a bit of a punching bag in the early game. Like, we already saw him go for a pretty late third command center in the beginning of this particular match, and it certainly did look a little bit fishy for him there for a moment, but 33 drones right over here. This hatchery is going to fall another time. Central base in a bit of trouble. Okay, a couple roaches here on the left side of the map trying to be a nuisance, but reinforcing Terran units do just fine. Liberators here harassing overlords just to make things even worse. There were some Ravagers morphed in to try and bile them down if they did decide to siege up. GuMiho right now though is maxed. Yeah. Does he even have a Ghost Academy? No, he never made a Ghost Academy. He's only on 6 barracks as well, which is also not quite optimal. I think you probably want to go up to 8 at this point, but... visibly a little bit flustered here. 44 SCVs went down. 23 drones. Yeah, really nothing to write home about though. These Liberators have been trying their best to just harass whatever they can for a while now. Actually, 2 and 3 confirmed kills, so those have got to be overlords, I guess. Didn't see them siege anyways. Push coming in from the right side of the map. The left has already been hit a couple of times. Apparently now the right side is next. Ultras in the front. Roaches trying to go for the surround there. Fungal! Nice fungal, but problem is these are, yeah, just fully upgraded Terran bio versus not quite fully upgraded Ultras. And you can tell. That was a great example as to the strength of upgrades in a 1v1 match of StarCraft 2. You just need fully upgraded Ultras in order, yeah, to do anything against fully upgraded bio. You do apparently not even really need Ghost here. I was thinking Ghost would be a good addition to maybe snipe those Ultras down, but I think GuMiho is looking at this game and he's like, yo, let's not get too fancy. I've been caught off guard like that before. Look at the amount of bases he's got set up right now. Yeah, no, this Terran economy is not going to slow down. Speaking of slowing down, though, Bly will never go down without a fight. So, Bly is the type of Zerg who will stay in this game for as long as he possibly can. Maybe not quite to, like, Fantasy's level. Don't know if you remember the Fantasy GG timings, but Fantasy would literally be having, like, 1 medevac and, like, 8 Marines, and he'd be like, guys, I can still do it if I believe hard enough. Oh. A swarm host? Larry the swarm host? No. Ultimately, though, with the natural going down, it's Gumi who wins game number 1. Equilibrium is going to be our second game for today. Fantastic map for Zerg. Mostly because of the size. But I think Bly has got his eye on, well, probably both. I'd be very surprised if Bly is not going to be taking at least one of those bases early on into the game, because they're just so incredibly powerful. GuMiho once again going for a low ground wall off. So what would be the safest way to open up as a Terran player? Honestly, I wouldn't even mind seeing him go for the good old 16 Marine drop. So 2 barracks, 1 factory, 1 starport, 16 Marines, Stimpack, 2 medevacs. It's an unpopular build in 2024 because, well, Zerg players in general are very good against it. But the thing is, it's also, and there we do go for the golden base, it's also something that keeps you very safe. So ultimately, it was originally meant as a build to deal pressure to the Zerg. But ultimately, it also... Really? We're gonna go CC first? No way. Alright, well, that is the last build I would have gone for if I was GuMiho. GuMiho is going command center first against Bly. To be fair, it's a base with a... or a map router with a golden base on it. 2 of them, so maybe I shouldn't be surprised. Bly, your overlords fly, my man. Generally, Zergs do not go drone scouts. Maybe you wanted to go for a proxy? Yeah, I think he may have been thinking about going for a proxy base in his opponent's natural expansion, but that is now not necessary. GuMiho actually chasing this very far, and I quite like that idea, because you don't really want that drone to go down to the third over there and make things a lot more complex. There's nothing to scout, by the way, here for Bly. Like, what are you gonna scout? A barracks? Yeah. Yeah, no, that's not a surprise, right? Double gas? Okay. Is there really something we can get out of that? I mean, the double gas, I guess, is nice, right? So you can tell here that it's not just gonna be a mass marine follow-up. No triple Rex or something like that. After a CC first. Bloop. That was my own action sound. Yeah, not bad, right? In the meantime, though, on the other side, we've got ourselves that rich Vespian guys are taken, rather, so these return 8 gas a trip rather than a conventional 4. Golden minerals return 7 minerals a trip rather than 5. So that's a base that's gonna give him a tremendous amount of income. GuMiho goes into the main. He sees the amount of drones there and the lack of gas, so he now fully knows what he's playing against. Question is there anything he can really do about it? Roach Warren coming up, 2.5 minute Roach Warren. Link speed again as well. So similar opener as what we saw in the first game of this series, except the Zerg economy, off of the amount of workers that he's got right now, significantly stronger. If you go for an all-in with a fully mining base like this one, there's a lot of potential that you can end the game. Because so far, I mean, other than that one drone loss, I guess, this is not necessarily a situation, and we got an SCV killed as well. This is not really a situation where GuMiho is feeling very comfortable. Bly is saving up some money. Roach Warren? Wait, did he cancel it? No. I thought for a second he canceled it. That would be crazy. Oh, really? We're just gonna... What? So, hold up. He made a Roach Warren. Now he starts up roaches, but he also made another hatchery. Again, I don't want to overanalyze, but that timing on the Roach Warren right now seems a bit wasted, because that Roach Warren was done for like 15 seconds before... There's the lair again! What? Bly, this is not the standard build order, my man. This is a very inefficient way to start, but then again, right, if you're GuMiho in this scenario, now link speed, by the way, was finished alongside the Roach Warren. If you're GuMiho in this situation, what exactly do you think is going on? Because you haven't seen the lair in this particular game. He luckily saw it for him, at least in game number 1 of this match. But do you just assume this is a full-on Roach all-in? Because it looks like a Roach all-in, but there's a lair on the back of it. There's a third hatchery on the back of it too. Any SCV kill right now is nice. Yeah, I think any, like, if you kill like 5 SCVs, you're probably feeling pretty amazing. Okay, now we're starting to target them down. You see what I mean, though, with unexplored territory? Because strategically, this is a mix between an economical, a tech-based, and a timing attack. Which... normally doesn't do very well in StarCraft 2. The simple reason for it is that you have to be very committed at this level of SC2, because your opponent, obviously, is going to be able to commit just fully, for example, into defense. 7 workers killed. Is that good enough? Well, there's no third command center. I would say, yeah, I think that's totally fine. Now the lair is done. Once again, roach speed. Spore crawlers are coming. Normally what Zerg players focus on, of course, couple of links sneak in. Normally one of the things that Zerg players focus on heavily in the early game is, of course, the Queen. Queen is certainly the best Zerg unit in the entire game. I don't think there's a whole lot of debate about that. But Bly has only made enough for, well, the amount of hatcheries that he's got. So the creep spread is only really starting to go around the map at this point. It is a different approach entirely, you know? It's like every single Zerg player that has ever booted up StarCraft 2 when they first installed the game, they got like the Zerg handbook. And somehow, some way, Bly got a very different copy of it. Everybody's like, okay, yeah, make like 7 queens, spread a creep around the map, movement and mobility and vision, very important. That's the key characteristic of an RTS game. Bly never got that copy of the Zerg strategies. So now we're droning very hard. Okay. We'll have to see where this goes. mech, by the way, here for GuMiho. So I guess he saw his Stimpeg get denied like 7 times in the previous game. Maybe 3 times. Maybe twice, actually. Anyways, he saw his units be in a little bit of trouble there, so now we're gonna go for something that will be more reliable, at least. Also, of course, this map in general is, well, pretty much perfect for the Zerg. So GuMiho is settling in to play a bit of a slower game here. Hurricane Thrusters coming up. Double Armory coming right up. Banshees. So I say slower game as in the sense that he can transition towards, for example, mass siege tanks and Thors and all the rest of it if he wants to. But this will be a battle mech approach instead. So this is gonna be, I would imagine, Hellion Cyclone Banshee. I would love to see the Banshee speed upgrade as well, though. Like, if we're gonna make 4 Banshees, we should certainly go Hyperflight Rotors inside of the tech lab. It's 100 gas, so he could start it up right now. Would not mind that whatsoever. We're going mass Banshee. Yeah. Anyways, let's have a look at what Bly is doing. So Bly has been mostly droning up. There's the infestation pit, macro hatchery, once again tunneling claws for the roaches. Burrow is already done. This is a much better start though than what we saw in the first game, right? At least in my mind, this is a lot more comfortable. Maybe it's because I've seen it now. Oh, Brenda. Brenda looking mighty thick. Woo! Brenda with the cheeky lat spread right there on the ramp. Somehow, some way. Managed to block that by herself. Anyways, here come the Banshees. No Banshee speed upgrade? That's crazy. Also, we have 5 Banshees. Where's the last one? Alright, there's the other one coming in. I think this is quite clever. 13 Overlords? No. I do think it's quite clever though from Gumi because he's recognized there's no queens. So if there are so few queens, or, well, no queens is maybe a little bit mean to Brenda and her white lats, but very few queens makes these Banshees a lot harder to stop. Yeah, I think you can target hatcheries. I was gonna say, don't go for... You can easily kill queens, man. But without that speed upgrade, you can't really chase. GuMiho trying to be a creative man once again. Missed transfusion right there on the queens, but now the Cyclone Hellion comes in. And this is gonna be real scary. Roaches in the meantime going across the map. Banshees, should they come home? I'm not exactly sure. Should the Roaches come home as well to try and defend against the Cyclones? I am also not sure. Well, apparently Bly has made the executive call to try and go all the way back home. Fungals? Fungals are an option. There's one. Oh, nice. It does manage to escape. Another fungal over here. That infestor already fell. And what looked like a relatively stable game right there for Bly for just a moment has been flipped upside down. And that is with GuMiho forgetting the Hyperflight Rotors upgrade. I think with the Hyperflight Rotors upgrade, the Banshee speed, he could have been kiting those queens easy peasy and these bases would have been in a world of trouble a lot earlier. 7 mutas are coming up. But, you know, when they show up this late, usually that's not what you want to produce. You want to make quite a bit more than that. Speaking of producing quite a bit more than that, yeah, GuMiho is sitting solidly at over, okay, a good 1,000 minerals there, but we are gonna fire up a lot of additional production here. That is one way, I guess, to bring that money back down. Bly probably doesn't have a lot of experience against the new Cyclone, right? So, if we have to believe Bly, and he hasn't actually been playing the game, how often has he actually played against the Cyclone? Probably not a whole lot. And suddenly, GuMiho is looking dominant. We have 1 missile turret over here, 2nd missile turret coming up. No units available though for the Terran that really shoot up other than those Cyclones. Cyclones are in the meantime in the completely opposite section of the map. But I think the Cyclones will just win the game here. Yeah, there's no way. Nah, you can't stop this Bly. Coup attempt. But queens are still just such a handy tool, right? Like they're so good in the early game, so good in the mid game, so strong in the late game too. Really never a moment where the queen is particularly weak and you can produce them early, they don't cost any larvae. There's a reason why we usually see like a dozen of them. GG is called. Game number 2 goes in favor of Gumi. Oceanborn is going to be our 3rd map for today. I was just gonna say, I think Bly probably should switch it up, and that may very well be what we're doing here. What's the plan, Bly? Bly, of course, very well known for his proxy hatches and other early game shenanigans. And that may just be what we have going for us here. Although obviously, proxy hatching a Terran, is he gonna go CC first again? Oh my god, don't do it, Gumi. This looks identical. Oh, he's just taking the opponent's third base. This looks identical to what he did in game number 2. Okay, no, it's gonna be a barracks. So, what exactly are we gonna do with this, Bly? That's always the question, right? Because it's so awkward. Like, proxy hatching a Protoss kind of makes sense. At least in my mind, it makes a lot more sense than proxy hatching a Terran, because as soon as Terran gets like a siege tank out and they put it over on the high ground, or they go into Banshee play or whatever, like Terran has a lot more early game defensive tools than Protoss does. So, okay, it's double gas in the main base together with a spawning pool, meaning that this will likely be a roach push. So the roaches will probably be produced over here from the other side of the map. He could certainly bring a, I don't know, a drone and make a few spine crawlers if he wants to. Obviously slow creep forward, make a queen over here, push the creep forward towards the opponents. But like, you're on a very strict timer against the Terran. When you are not prepared. Oh, this SCV scout is going to be very late though. When you're not prepared though against the Terran units, you can be in a world of trouble. GuMiho has no clue what's happening. There's a roach one coming up. 2 more drones. They're going to be rallied towards these individual gases. So some specific gas mining timings right there by our Zerg. He knows exactly what he's doing. Saving up larva over here. Does he see the creep? He does see the creep right now. Okay, so bunker coming up right now. GuMiho is in full defensive mode. Roaches, very handy, but they required a warrant to be done, and that one is not quite finished yet. No queen over here either, so Bly mostly just using this as a way to quickly reinforce his army. I think he's just gonna actually produce, yeah, all of his roaches right over here. He's been mining a lot of gas. It takes, I believe, 7 biles to kill a bunker, so the bunker certainly is gonna be very handy, because in order to go for the Ravagers, you need 700 gas mined, and that is quite a lot of it. Okay, let's see. I mean, there's just simply not a lot of Terran units available at this point, right? So, ooh, we do need to go in for the repair. Marauder available right now, that's very nice. Good deflection here by Gumi so far. This is, of course, match point as well for GuMiho. We really need to lower that depot, man, because we need to get a full wraparound. I think that bunker should have been 1 square further forward. Anyways, SCVs right now pulled to try and deny this. Good denial right there on one of them. One of the Ravagers, that is. Another Ravager. Oh, just barely finishes in time. And yes, they do spawn with full hit points. Any Zerg Cocoon always spawns with full hit points. We have another one of them being morphed in right over here at the front. This one is mostly just here to tank a lot of damage. SCV is forced to run away from the bunker. Bunker goes down. And with that, GuMiho taps out. That was a quick one. Game number 4. We find ourselves on the map Alcyone. Great map for Terran, usually. The watchtower area is nice, and just in general, it's a pretty easy one to defend on, but... Okay, I was gonna say, GuMiho should probably play this a little bit more cautiously. Bly has not gone for anything weird so far. But of course, there's a gold base on this map. It's actually become pretty common. Oh no, what? I was gonna say, it's become pretty common for Zerg players to take that golden base, but I think we're going for another proxy hatch. This is a different proxy hatchery though than what we had in game number 1. So we'll have to see exactly what the plan is, because Bly... Or, sorry, not in game number 1, in game number 3. In the previous game. Wait, what? I mean, there's a rich geyser over here, but there's one over there too. This is likely the last expansion that GuMiho would ever check for. Because this is a weird one. Going for the quick gold has become a popular strategy at the professional level, so you can't really catch your opponent off guard with that very easily. Top level Zergs like Solar, they've been doing that, well, in like half of the games that they play here against Terran. Although lately he's kind of steered away from it again, but... What do we do now? What is the plan here? Why do we need the rich geyser? I guess only time will tell. GuMiho, by the way, no scouting at all. GuMiho, man. He's not scared. I think a lot of players, they are intimidated when they go up against guys like Bly, right? But GuMiho, he's been molded in the cheese. This is what he's done for many, many years, and he's good against it, and he's good at it too, but you would imagine that going for an SCV scout into a Reaper, just play like a normal safe opener, the strategy that we see most Terran players go for, you would imagine that that is a great build, but apparently GuMiho feels like he doesn't need to against probably the cheesiest and rustiest Zerg that you could face at this level. Okay, so he sees that the golden base over there has not been mined. The base is a little bit further up here. We are gonna rush out that gas. Okay. So to clarify, this gives the same amount of gas as 2 regular gas geysers. So this entire adventure for these drones, it's nice and all. But wouldn't you just prefer taking the gases over here? Obviously though, this is gonna be the unexpected moment here. The unexpected. Sure, I'm making words up right now. Sick. The unexpected. This is gonna be very unexpected as well for the Terran, right? Because at this point, Gumi has no clue what he's playing against. He's gonna scout the other side of the map and he will, well, assuming he checks, he's not gonna see anything. Queen on the high ground sees the timing of the lair, and this is gonna be a moment where your heart sinks. You're like, what? You see that in that Reaper? That Reaper stopped dead in its tracks. Okay, this is when GuMiho is gonna start checking every base though. He should. He's checked this one already. He's checked that one. He's not even considering the rich geysers in the top left because it's so stupid. Yeah, this is pretty stupid. He's double checking right now. He's like, wait, did I go far enough? Yeah, I did go far enough. What in the world is going on? Okay. So if this is just going to be Mutas, I don't like this at all. So now GuMiho sees what he's playing. Yeah, it's gonna be a Spire. We could have just built the natural expansion though and be done with it. Like that would have given the same amount of gas. Because the thing is, Mutas are countered so easily, right? Like, It's one of the very few builds, I guess, that needs a lot of gas. But it's not like this gives you that much gas. It's just that you... Like, the main advantage of this is that you need 4 less drones to get the same income, right? So you need 1 drone to make the extractor, and then 3 for mining. That's about it. So what Bly has saved himself here is a 4-worker advantage. But he had to send all of those drones towards that section. He now has to manage that area of the map. I guess he gets a lot of creep spread, but Mutas don't benefit from that. It's a bit of a head scratcher for sure. Anyways, I think the same thing can be said for Gumi, who's also wondering if this is now a good plan or not, and whether or not he's even really understanding exactly what's going on that well. Because it is a bit of a strange one. Dropper Lord coming up, okay. Dropper Lord into Mutas. So now we have, by the way, more gas than we can actually spend on Mutas, which is kind of funny. Bly currently, yeah, with 300 gas in the bank, not enough minerals to properly produce all of the Mutalisks. He will get there in just a moment. Slow Zergling drop going into the main base. You love to see it. Okay. So what do we do now? Do we wait until the Mutas show? I think so. Raven, by the way, coming up. GuMiho probably a little scared for our burrowed roaches once again, which is kind of funny. Zergling's waiting. I mean, if you can kill the missile turrets or maybe get a jump on those cyclones, life's gonna be pretty good. Loses one of the Mutas there. That sucks. Okay, let's see. Is he gonna jump the missile turret? He is. Mass repair going down though, and this has not worked out at all. Great reaction speed right there by GuMiho, shutting that down before it even gets remotely close. In the meantime, we have a small assault force moving on over towards the left side of the map. Raven, of course, also very handy, and that may actually have been the intention of it here, to spot all of those creep tumors. Brenda and Karen, terrified. This is dangerous, though, for Gumi, because Zerg has a very fast-moving army. Sure, his bases are very split, but he can still get on top of this relatively easily, because that Zerg army, of course, it moves around the map super rapidly. It's a lot of units that will be spawning inside of the main base of GuMiho, whereas Bly can get all of his units into combat right away. Auto turret is timed out right now. Zerglings getting the wrap around, and those Cyclones are dead. In the meantime, though, drones also in a bit of trouble. Banshee is gonna get picked off. Siege Tank is gonna get picked off. Raven also forced to fly away. These Marines, they were on a one-way trip too. Can GuMiho hold on here? That's the question. I think there is a chance. I was gonna say for like a Baneling bust or something along those lines. I think Bly has too many mutas. As funny as it is, I think Ling Bane alone would beat this. Like, he's got Bane speed. Just Ling Bane would do better than Muta Ling Bane. Oh my god. Alright, we're gonna make even more Banelings. Yeah, no. But will he expect a second wave? He does not. Oh no! Oh no! Okay, it's fine. It's fine. Crisis averted. Muta's in the meantime in the main base, trying to go after the missile turret again, but they do not get it done. Alright. 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 Ultimately, GuMiho is in a comfortable spot. Not a perfect spot. He's probably not feeling like he is able to breathe just yet, but life has gotten a little bit easier for him. He's going Hellions, he's going Cyclones, Infernal Pre-Igniter is finishing up, so that's the blue flame upgrade for the Hellions. This is a really good unit composition against, well, mostly a Ling Bane-based army, right? We still have the Mutas flying around, but they haven't really achieved that much. And Bly right now playing a unit composition that usually gets played off of about 80 workers, minimum. Usually 90, sometimes even more than that. He's playing it off of only 51. And when I started that entire sentence at like 44. So his economy is really nothing to write home about. What that means is that he needs to slow down the Terran's economy or somehow, some way drone back up himself. But the new Cyclone is really quite good against this sort of unit comp, and that base is super dead. Zerglings in the meantime heading on over towards the main base here of Gumi. Lynx trying their best to come in. Lynx though in the main base. You just have to make up for so much right now, and GuMiho is actually rallied towards his main supply depot, which I love. So all of these units here, well, until he just moved. But it was perfect until he just moved there, because all of his reinforcements were popping up very close to where those Zerglings can start harassing. Blydo waiting, I guess, to get the heads up here that the Terran army is moving across. Yeah, we're talking 2-base Zerg economy against the Terran who just started up a 4th command center. Is that something you can ever come back against? I don't think so. I think ultimately, GuMiho is in a much better position. Banelings suddenly show up though. You know, every once in a while, I see a YouTube comment of somebody saying, yo, the meta, it's gotten a little bit stale. We've seen the same strategy so many times already, yada, 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 right? Maybe Bly right now is not a top-level player. I don't know if he ever will be a top-level player again. The thing is, it's like a breath of fresh air, right? Like, there's like strategies here that we have never seen before in 14 years of the game. And you'd imagine that they don't work very well, because if you explain them, right, if you say them out loud and you don't actually see a game, it doesn't make sense. A lot of the decisions that Bly makes in these games don't necessarily make sense. But he's very good at assessing the situation and then going for something that his opponent least expects. And there's multiple curveballs being thrown at the same time, so it strategically becomes very clever. But it only makes sense because the opponents are also trying to deal with the imperfect information that they have. Ultimately, though, GuMiho is just playing a stronger game here. Yeah, I mean, these Cyclones, they're just the first wave of many. There's more of them coming in right there. Look at that. Oh, my God. Does it ever end? Ay, ay, ay. An entire train wagon right over there. Or like wagon upon wagon right there of freaking Cyclones coming across the map. The Gumi God. He does it again. Playing some very fun strategies himself as well. He will obtain the victory in this best of 5 series. 3-1 over Bly. But man, these were some very fun strategies.